Okay. Well, this is number one, as you can see, very first attempt. Very, very roughly made, very, very roughly thrown together. Just a first basic experiment to see if we could actually put a circuit together based on Bedini's idea.
The simplified Schoolgirl circuit, isn't it?
That's right.
And the difference between this and the motor, the fan motor.
Obviously this has only got one coil to drive and to trigger the circuit and to charge the battery. So it's purely it's one coil does all, whereas on the fan motor we've got four coils, two doing the charging and two doing the driving, so to speak. This also is lacking in a lot of the safety features, and we found that we have to be very careful. We haven't got a switch to initiate the current into the circuit.
Safety in terms of damaging the circuit.
That's right, yeah. Just purely in terms of circuit protection. We have got the little neon across the circuit there to hopefully soak up, but I have noticed if we disconnect the battery, that lights up and then the transistor smokes, and if you're not quick enough the transistor just fries. Whereas on the circuitry on the professionally assembled Bedini kit, the neons just flash away happily and they'll absorb all of the charging current.
So let's talk through. I'm just focusing on the wheel at the moment.
Yeah.
When I started gathering some components on this and was discussing with you, because of my ignorance of the electrics and electronics, I thought the greatest difficulty would be in the soldering and the matrix board.
Yeah. And I think I pointed out at the time that I thought the biggest problem would be the bearing to run the wheel efficiently, and also the mechanics in terms of assembling the thing accurately. As you can see, the general body of the thing was made from wood, just to isolate all of the components from each other, in terms of the coil from the wheel and the bearings and whatever. And also the coil is cradled in a sunken pit, if you like, in the wood body itself, to firmly hold the coil in position. Yet we can adjust it by moving the coil sliding it forward or backward to give us a gap between the magnets and the end of the coil, which obviously we've found the closer the gap, or the smaller the gap, the more efficiently the wheel turns.
And the bearing itself was from one of your machines, wasn't it?
It was just an old bearing, really. When I say old, it wasn't a worn out bearing by a long shot, but it has had some wear. It was already mounted onto a spindle. It was part of a blade guide from a bandsaw.
And I mentioned to you earlier that whilst somebody doing this as a hobby has got lots of information, much of because you are an engineer, you have your own company, you mechanical engineering, you've got qualifications in electronical engineering. It is very challenging for someone without proper machine tools to fit all this together, really, especially the bearing.
It is, but obviously there is various things that on John Bedini's own sites. There are various options you've got in terms of breaking down fans, motors in any component that have bearings and windings. I saw one on the internet the other day with a electric window motor assembly that had been converted into a Bedini machine.
And the wheel itself, what was that used for, Tom?
That wheel is purely a caster. If I stop it now, if I stop it,
yeah,
you can see it's just 4 magnets literally screwed and glued onto a nylon caster wheel, and in the centre there you can see the
Did you
roller
drill it
bed.
out or mill it out?
All I did with that caster wheel was bored out the centre on a lathe to fit, make a nice tight fit to that bearing in there, which I then basically glued in.
Yeah.
Same with the magnets, just drilled into the wheel, and put a small screw through the centre of the magnets that were already drilled when supplied by Maplin, and then put a little bit of super glue on the back of the magnets as well, just to make sure they didn't go flying off into space.
So folks, that's what an engineer does. I collected a couple of bicycle wheels from a bike shop in Alzoin, tried to mount them on some sort of platform and didn't get anything because of the ignorance about bearings, and here we are, we've got a proper engineer discussing it for us now.
I'll switch you on again and just give her a little spin to start off. And there she goes. Now we did start this battery, with a battery that was registering 12.5 volts, so might be worth just taking a reading off that battery now we've been charging it for a few minutes.